What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's the Earthmaster here on this Tuesday, August 16th, 2022 day, about 7:23 p.m. California time. And the latest quake shows a 2.3 earthquake up into the area of Alaska. This comes right after, just moments after, originally a 5.8 coming in here to the Alaska region, downgraded to a 4.8. And then back upgraded to a 5.0 there on the Earthquake 3D globe. So a little bit of bouncing around there from the USGS in terms of the magnitude. So a little odd, definitely a little odd. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here on the USGS map showing that 5.0 that just struck a few minutes ago at about 33.2 kilometers into the subduction zone here of the Pacific and the North American plate. Now this area does get some rather large earthquakes. It's been fairly quiet for the past, past few weeks or so in this region. This area did see, I believe, I think this is one of the locations that seen a 7-pointer last year or two. One of, I think a couple 7s out there in this region of the world. But for now, a 5.0 coming in again. Well south of any major populated densities out there. I don't believe too many people may have felt this, but we'll double check it and see. No reports at all coming in out there, but looking at the historical data, no doubt this line of this region of the subduction zone is a major player in producing quite a few earthquakes, big and small. But for now, a 5.0 in that region. Let's go ahead and pull up, actually before we pull up the smaller quakes, I want to give a little view of some of these other earthquakes popping off into the Cook Inlet area. Earlier today we seen a 4.0 and some movement outside of Anchorage as well, north and south of there. So things really active in terms of at least a little bit of elevated magnitudes here tonight and over the last 24 hours here in Alaska. And that goes for the same also down the coast here in California. Things kind of kicking up a little bit. Had an earthquake offshore back before the Cascadia subduction zone there into the Gorda Ridges. I don't care what anybody says, it's still pretty close to the Cascadia, and you never know. Could 5 or 6 could pop off here and trigger the big one. We just don't know. I wouldn't mess around like that next to a sleeping giant. Same for like the San Andreas Fault down south, right? You wouldn't want no 5 or 6 kicking off down there right next to a locked and loaded gun, so to speak. All right, some activity as noted, like I mentioned, offshore into the Gorda Ridges area. Also some movement along the creeping section of the San Andreas Fault. We did have an earthquake. Let me bring up the, yeah, there we go, 2.5 and above. We had a 3.3 down south here, just off the southern segment of the San Andreas Fault. Looks like this struck on the, let's see which fault system this is here. This kind of looks like it's leaning towards the San Andreas Fault Zone, San Bernardino Mountain section. The Gandy Ranch Fault is what it looks like. Here's the plate boundary if you really think about it. But it looks like this little section extends off of here, off of the main one. But they still call it the San Andreas Fault Zone. Okay, that's kind of odd. But yeah, 3.3, 14 kilometers, somewhat deep out there. I'm sure quite a few folks did report feeling this quake. It is around a somewhat populated area. Looks like folks reported feeling some light shaking. Nothing major yet. 3.3, of course, ain't going to do any major damage out there, but it is rocking and rolling on the along the Pacific plate here today. Definitely. Of course, USGS really not showing some of those earthquakes that we were looking at this morning along the Middle America Trench and into portions here of the northern Peru-Chile Trench area. But, you know, it's there. We've seen it on the EMSC model, and then we'll check that out here in a little bit as well. But things definitely kind of rocking and rolling out here in the southern portion of the state and the west coast in general right now. No major swarms to report. Looks very typical, but still just kind of watching these little earthquakes that pop up here from time to time in the 3 range. Low activity outside of Fernley, Nevada. Looks like a 2.6 kicking off earlier this morning time frame, and followed up by a couple small microquakes out there in the desert of Nevada, where they probably get more rain than the California area. Hit 112 degrees here today, folks. I live just outside of Chico here. Chico's a little bit cooler, but where I'm at here, it cooks. 112 is what I had in my backyard, and I don't like it one bit. One earthquake up here, way outside of the Yakima, Washington region. 1.1 striking out here in the desert air. Looks like 6.4 kilometers for that earthquake. And a little activity outside of Mount St. Helens as well, shown up here on the map. A couple small microquakes there. Rest of the country, a little scattered out there for activity. Not a whole lot going on. The Puerto Rico Trench seen some movement this morning, and it looks like maybe a couple other earthquakes throughout the afternoon time frame up around the Puerto Rico Trench. So things a little bit on the increasing side around the Caribbean plate here, and the Cocos plate showing some activity here between the two boundaries. Looking at the Middle America Trench area, 4.4 and 4.6 being reported throughout the day today. There's some movement there in the South America region. Quite a few fours kicking up. Some deep, some not so deep. Very typical there along that major subduction zone. Let's see here what we got for Hawaii. Things kind of lighten up a little bit out here around the Pahala region. Latest quake shows a 2.4 at 32 kilometers. No major adjustments or movements going on there at the volcanoes. And same for the Tau volcano out here around the American Samoa. I was watching the data viewer here. This is the raspberryshake.org website, and this is the specific channel monitoring activity around the American Samoa there with the ongoing earthquake swarm. Throughout the morning and afternoon time frame, had some earthquakes popping up here on the map. A couple here within the last hour or so as well. Again, some of these smaller quakes are indeed earthquakes, but not quite as large as these. Those, I guess, are probably running potentially around the 2 magnitude range. It's very limited in terms of what we can monitor, as far as the seismograph stations go there. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on it. Let me see if we got any updates here on that volcano. A lot of times they do put them out. Let's see here, buried in there somewhere. Let me zoom in here a little bit and check out the Tau volcano on the Manua Islands region. Let's see if there's any updates here. Stand by for just a second. It is an unassigned volcano. Let's see here. So it looks like the USGS installed an earthquake monitoring system. That's going to be the Raspberry Shaker, which is this one right here. It's just taking me back to this site to where I just showed you guys the earthquakes here on the map. And it's pretty cool to monitor. You can kind of key these up right here and get a better view of them. A little bit more distinct view of what the seismograph signature looks like. But let me go back here to the volcanoes, see if there's any other updates here in terms of what's going on out here. So HVO is issuing daily notices about this activity, which you can read on the Tau Island volcano. So here we go. No significant changes. Again, this was put out yesterday, so it doesn't look like they've put out a new one yet today. But looking at those seismic signatures right there, it doesn't look like there's been any uptick, major uptick. There's still quite a bit of activity. Look at that. Like I say, every single one of these spikes here are earthquakes, and there's a lot of them. You know, there's probably, I don't know, don't want to take a guess here, but there's probably a good 100 or more within this little seismograph reading. It's supposed to be the last 24 hours of activity here. But again, some of these, you know, you can kind of highlight this area here where a little dot is and be able to see the seismograph reading a little bit better with the amplitudes kicking up a little bit. So earthquake activity continuing there at the Tau volcano, and no major updated info yet around the American Samoa in terms of that volcano. So what do we got going on down here around the Fiji Islands area, Tonga area? Not a whole lot. All this activity is from earlier this morning, so no renewed activity throughout the afternoon. Looks like we did have, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that was definitely from this morning, so Nothing new kicking up in this area. Right now, I think we're kind of back to the west coast and the North American, the plate boundary here between the North American and Pacific plate boundary, all seeing the brunt of the action today. So watching this area, again, until we see some further large-scale activity, I think we need to watch these areas pretty closely. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench up here. This movement from way earlier this morning, we did see a little bit of swarming that was kicking up here. Kind of like a little telltale sign of the incredible pressure and slip rate that's been building up in this region, but no major quakes yet. Yet is the key word for now. Yellowstone National Park, I don't believe we have anything going on here at the Volcano. Super Volcano, that is. It looks like that site might actually be down. Because for whatever reason, that is not coming in here. That's a little weird. So they're offline, which is a little on the weird side, but that's all right. We'll check back here. 104 epicenters into Northern California, under Northern California today, as far as the tremor count goes. Mostly confined down here. Actually, it's all confined down here to the Northern California region, and not a big number, but definitely a little seismic increase there in the tremor department. In the respect of that matter. All right, let's go ahead and check out. Let's see what else we got here going on. Not going to make this a super long updated video tonight, folks. Got to get outside and hang out with the little ones for a little bit before the sun goes completely down. It's still 101 outside, but it's better than 112. Let's see what we got for space weather out here. Things kind of rocking and rolling. If you notice over here on the 3-day geomagnetic forecast, models have been updated and upgraded in support of a G3 class storm. Now, that's pretty impressive. We haven't seen a G3. Well, I'm trying to think if we've seen that G3 a while ago, like a week or so ago. I can't remember if that actually reached G3 levels, but okay, things definitely ramping up on the 18th. 90% chance of higher latitude storming. Mid latitudes, we could see that down to Pennsylvania, Ohio, possibly into northern Oregon, of course, Dakotas, Montana. You guys are looking at potentially seeing the auroras if the G3 storm holds up. KP index of at least around 7 expected on the 18th time frame. So things are going to get busy here real soon. We have seen solar weather activity ramp up again throughout the day today. We've seen a couple M flares, M2.7 and M5.0. And looking at the solar flare detection chart here, shows that we're still popping. And we still have a pretty good chance of possibly seeing some further M flares, including a 10% chance of an X flare from, I'm sure, one of these main sunspots right now, which is 3081 or 3078. 3078 looks like it's kind of getting its stuff together. It is growing a new region right here. 3083 is the newest named sunspot, and it's kind of combined with this 3078 there. So this thing is it's hungry. It's getting its act together. There's quite a bit of polarity mixing here in the fields there. I'm sure, let me see what it is. 3078 is going to be a beta gamma delta class as far as the magnetic class goes, and those are the ones that kind of spark off large flares. 3078 is not the one I just checked. Yes, it is, I believe. Beta gamma delta as well. This one's a beta gamma region, not as complex. Notice that these things aren't all over the place as far as the colors go. There's colors, but they're not as closely combined together as the other class, the other magnetic class field goes on the 3078 sunspot. But still, got a pretty good chance of sparking off some flares here from those sunspots. So G3 storm coming up, folks. Let me bring up the spaceweather.com website, and these guys still saying the same thing. Updated storm forecast. NOAA forecasters have upgraded their geomagnetic storm watch from a category 2, which is moderate, to a G3 class storm in response to models suggesting multiple CME impacts August 18th and the 19th. During such storms, naked eye auroras can descend into the USA as far as south as Illinois and Oregon. Geomagnetic latitude of 50 degrees. Although the storm could become strong, power grids and satellites are in no danger yet. We're lucky, right? We've been pretty lucky, but we're entering into some interesting solar weather activity, that's for sure. So G3 storm conditions, here's what they state. Power systems, voltage corrections may be required. False alarms triggered on some protection devices. Spacecraft operations, surface charging may occur on satellite components. Drag may increase on low Earth orbit satellites, and corrections may be needed for orientation problems. Intermittent satellite navigation and low frequency radio navigation problems may occur. High frequency radio may be intermittent, and auroras have been seen as low as Illinois and Oregon. Unfortunately, here in California, not going to happen. We need the big ones. We need a big, like, Carrington type event. Maybe something more than that to see down here in California. But either way, 200 per cycle is what the average is. 200 per cycle, per solar cycle. Seems like a lot, but I mean, we don't get it too often. Here is the, oh, I like this. This is kind of cool. Check this out. So they call this a Cannibal CME. Cannibal CME. So there is, let's see here. It kind of looks like, let me look, here's a little bit closer. It kind of looks like there's definitely a couple different CMEs, and that's why they call it kind of a cannibal. It could eat the slower one, the faster moving one, could eat the slower one, and kind of turn into like a little bit bigger monster. So that is kind of cool, I think, anyway. That's actually really interesting right there. So we got green. Notice the green up here. That's for Earth. Stereo A, Stereo B are the different monitoring spacecraft out there. But Earth in the green right here. Just kind of looking at that. So we'll see how this plays out. Some of these look pretty darn close for a really large impact there between the CME. So, all right, we'll definitely keep an eye on it for sure. This could be a Cannibal CME event. In other words, the second CME might overtake and gobble up the first, creating a mishmash of the two. Mishmash. I haven't heard that word in a while. Mishmash? Cannibal CMEs contain tangled magnetic fields and compressed plasmas that sometimes spark strong geomagnetic storms. So, yeah. Pretty cool. This is my kind of stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I like hearing about this. This is, you know, even though we're not going to see here in Northern California, I like activity. Boring weather and 112 degrees and well, different types of weather here. I mean, solar weather and Earth weather here. But you know, still, boring stuff is not good. It's good to be active. If that makes sense. I'll probably get a couple negative comments. You guys want the power grids to go down and blah, blah, blah. And it's all good, though. It's all good. The positive vibes that I'm receiving from this this solar energy heading our way is pretty strong. Solar energy is what I'm going to be soaking up here over the next few days for sure. All right, look at this. Although the storms could be strong, power grids and satellites are in no danger. Extreme storms are required for that. So, yeah, I mean, we haven't had a real extreme storm in a while, huh? We've been lucky. But, you know, don't let your guard down. I got plenty of fuel, plenty of generators, plenty of batteries, plenty of food, plenty of TP, plenty of water, plenty of all that good stuff. Got to be prepared, folks. I mean, I've always been a prepper. Doomsday scenario guy? Yeah, possibility. I mean, anything can happen at any time. 3.5 coming into Hawaii right now. But it's always good to be prepared, folks, no matter what. I think we all can agree to that, because what could happen? I mean, say if we get a major solar storm here and the power grid goes down for weeks at a time, like just say worldwide or something. You know, a lot of people have solar up on their houses, but I don't know. I mean, are you prepared to live for 2 weeks? Got enough food? Got enough fuel? You know, I don't know. It'd put the world into chaos for sure. I know a lot of people wouldn't be going to work. That's for sure. And then again, the internet would be down, so that wouldn't be good. I'd disappear into the wind. Just dust in the wind. No internet, no channel, nothing like that. That would not be good. But I'm definitely prepared in terms of anything drastic happening. So I think we all kind of have to look and see, at least if we're partially prepared. Don't want to look in your cupboards, right, and see one can of soup and one bottle of water. That's it. No. Can't live like that, guys. You have to at least keep cases of water, many totes of canned foods. I'm a big fan of Top Ramen, and me and Miss Mimi's bought, I don't know, about 30 cases or so. Cases, not packages, 30 cases earlier this year, and we still have like half of them. But they're good to eat, and they last for quite a while, you know. And if I need to, I can dig into those when or if something happens. So, gotta be prepared. Not crazy one bit, just prepared. That's how I see it. I'd rather be prepared than worrying what I'm gonna do if something does happen. All right, guys, have a good night. Stay safe. If anything does change on the storming conditions, we'll definitely do an update. But it looks like things could be racking up here probably maybe tonight or tomorrow at the earliest, and then only getting stronger over the next few nights from there. So heads up. All right, guys, stay safe. Have a good night, and welcome to all the new channel members out there. We'll catch you guys a little bit later. Peace out.